Welcome to segment 6. Tonight we're going to be talking about ISIS in the United States. The European Parliament has come out with, it's hard to even say the straight face.
Yeah.
The European Parliament has come out with a Europe-wide anti-radicalization agenda. Now, first of all, these are the countries that said we should assimilate Muslims and make them feel at home, and right?
Be tolerant.
Yeah, be tolerant and all that. Apparently, they decided that didn't work out as they hoped.
Yeah, but some of these recommendations seem pretty pussified, in my opinion.
I think these are way off on the fringe here. So here it
the fringe
is.
of ineffectiveness.
That's
the
right.
fringe that he's talking about.
The European Parliament's comprehensive strategy to fight extremism in Europe. Number one. This should have been on Dave Leonard.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are going to, this fights extreme, yes, right. Educational and vocational training offered to inmates.
In prison.
Well, most inmates are in prison. The inmates that aren't in prison are escapees.
Right.
Inmates will be more tightly supervised. EU country would adopt a uniform, legally binding definition of terrorism. We could use that here.
Well, yeah, our president's not too gone on actually telling a spade a spade.
We can't, it's like a fur ball. You can't hack it up. And then people who join terrorist organizations by that definition would be placed under judicial and administrative control upon return to their home.
Return to their home countries. Ooh.
What exactly is?
Because we know where they are at all times.
Now, contrast that with the Don.
Yeah.
So that's the Europeans' plan, comprehensive, mind you, strategy to fight extremism in Europe.
There was more, but
We're going to educate them and teach them.
it's all along the same line.
If you give them a minimum wage, $15 an hour,
If they
flipping
just had-
burgers,
If they just had jobs, then
non-pork
they wouldn't
burgers.
kill people.
Right, exactly. The Don apparently feels a little differently about this. He says it's a horrible thing. Talking about people, civilians, non-ISIS
Their
people.
family.
Yeah, their families, their own families. It's a horrible thing. They're using them as shields, but we're fighting a very politically correct war, and we are. That's what we're doing. I don't think there's ever been a war, correct me if I'm wrong on this, I don't think there's ever been a war where the term collateral damage exists before the Middle East. Certainly, collateral damage was not mentioned in Vietnam, and I know it wasn't mentioned in the Second World War. Probably not in Korea either. It was bomb the living snot out of them, and kill them all, let God sort out the bodies. So Trump,
Trump says he wants to bomb the hell out of them.
and that's the best one, that's the kindest one,
Yeah.
kindest one. He basically says you have to take out their families. But what have I been saying?
That's what you say.
I have many times said, what do Dresden, Hiroshima, Nagasaki have in common? And they all basically ended wars.
You have to bring them to their knees, basically.
The civilian population has to go, that's it, we're done.
Yeah.
And then there's no safe haven for anyone that disagrees with it. Right now, at best, what the civilian population is doing is just ignoring them, not letting them do whatever they want. Most of them are supporting them.
Right.
They ain't got no skin in the game.
Well, and as Joe Walsh said, they're Muslims basically are incompatible with American values. And so,
That's it.
there's no wiggle room. I mean, I've been saying this for weeks. Their holy book preaches hate, and it says kill the infidel. Their holy book says if you conquer infidels, they have three choices: convert, be your slaves, or die. Though that's what their holy book says. When you follow a holy book that preaches that kind of doctrine, it can't coexist with Judeo-Christian values.
This may be the only religion more zealous than Southern Baptists. Okay?
Yeah. Well, and You know, I really do. Some people have said, you know, the bumper sticker, the code is this bumper sticker. They, you know, want to get a bumper sticker that says it's hard to code this with someone who wants to kill you. I want a T-shirt. Screw the bumper sticker.
Yeah.
I'll just wear
You'll be the first to go down.
it. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm armed. I'm ready.
Okay. So the other interesting thing is, and Trump points this out, and it is true. Every time this president sends troops somewhere, it's like a small little group, and he announces to the world where they're going. Clearly, this man has never been in the military and has no clue what he's doing. Or he actually does know what he's doing, and he's doing it intentionally.
Yeah, which that's my guess.
You don't give away intelligence, and you certainly don't send 50 troops. If you send 50 troops, it's like a hit squad, and you're not going to mention them at all.
Right.
And yet, everything that this guy has done has basically been to undermine what we do.
Yeah, and with respect to that, Donald Trump said, if you do your job, do your job. Don't talk about it. Any good general, somebody that knows what he's doing, they don't talk about where they're sending their troops. So, you know, he said you send the troops quietly. So, you know, he's basically coming right out and saying what a lot of people are thinking about the way Obama's been doing his job as commander-in-chief.
I remember when Bush went into Iraq. Remember that? It was just all of a sudden they're crossing the border.
Yeah.
It was just boom, out of nowhere, crossing the border.
Right. And they were broadcasting live on television, but we didn't know anything leading up to that.
Yeah. And they called it shock and awe for a reason. It was, in fact, shock and awe.
I guess apparently there must have been a speech by the president tonight.
Yeah, there was. 7 o'clock.
Okay. So I missed that because I was flying away here, but gun control and stuff. And I was wondering because everybody's stuff is blowing up just now. It seems like about
Apparently, he
sales
didn't really say anything.
Nothing.
I don't know
you
because I don't know exactly because obviously I didn't get to see it, but I'm looking at some responses from my Facebook people and they're like talking about if you need to, you know, want to go learn how to shoot, I'll take you out shooting, and you know if you're in gun sales, dressed up because your sales are going to increase like tomorrow or whatever. So,
But yeah, but I don't think he announced anything he was doing.
I don't know. Or if I'm just
We didn't see it
blah
either.
blah gun control and stuff that just happened.
Yeah, he kept
Yeah.
the same litany of
My mom
things.
texted me and she basically said the same shit different day.
Okay.
What we know,
I say I need to see it. So I
what
don't
we know for
Yeah,
a
we
fact is the Senate held the line on stuff that they wanted. We know for a fact that I think his press secretary said that he was seriously considering executive action on background checks, which,
That was a couple of days ago.
yeah, I mean, not that I want that to happen, but it's,
And they said a while ago that they were looking into what they could do.
Yeah.
with executive.
Yeah. because
Executive
they
action.
can't get the rest passed.
They
They
can't,
can't get it by
they
the
can't get
Senate.
anything they want.
Yeah. It's weird. Now, here's the thing that I find very interesting, and I don't understand this at all. The FBI is investigating 1,000 ISIS-tied individuals in the United States. Could be, you know, CZAC, right?
Uh-huh.
On the computer, thinking he's flirting with some hot babe, and it's an ISIS person converting him. Are you're not carrying an automatic weapon with you, right?
No, not like.
So that 1,000, who knows what that is? That could be anything. But this part disturbs me. There are at least 22 paramilitary Islamic communities in the U.S. that they know of.
Yeah.
And they're not doing anything about it. They're watching them.
Well, we reported on this
A long time ago.
over a year
A
ago.
long time ago,
Yeah.
right, that's true. I guess I thought back then, when they found there were Islamic terrorist training camps on American soil, he shut them down. I thought that was why it was in the news. We make them go away. How long do they have to watch them?
I don't know. So they do something that's actually illegal, I guess.
There's been murders and rapes and all kinds of things in the community.
Oh,
These
really?
people. Oh yeah. They how can they be? They can't be in any sort of peaceful relationship with a nearby community. So there've been murders and rapes and stuff like that. I can't believe that they allow this to. If they say this is a known Islamic terrorist training camp on U.S. soil, seems to me, I'm just thinking outside the box, seems to me somebody could stop that. What if there were 22 white middle-class guy training camps to kill whoever? You know?
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, look at Waco. I mean,
Or Ruby Ridge, or any of
they
them.
were all up there, bud.
Right, right. And I'm not suggesting that they weren't nutballs, but the point is, they apparently weren't doing anything illegal at the time. How can we have 22 terrorist training camps in the United States and they're not doing anything?
I don't know.
This is, it's scary stuff.
The interesting thing that I have noticed is that Comey, the FBI
Yeah,
director,
FBI director, yeah.
a couple of weeks ago came out and said, in defiance of Obama, that he didn't think gun control was the answer, that he thought, you know, people carrying concealed was a better plan, much like the guy from Interpol had said.
Right.
And
the chief of police in Washington, D.C.
right, and the FBI, I mean, the director of the FBI, he's a political appointee.
Absolutely.
You know, and now, you know, I believe it was late Friday or early Saturday, the FBI came out and said, yes, you know, we are calling the San Bernardino shooting terrorism. Again, in defiance of what Obama would probably prefer. So I have a feeling like Comey doesn't care about his job at this point, and so that's the thing that's a little mystifying to me about this is, and maybe, you know, maybe they're doing more than, I mean, this is Freedom Outpost. I mean, the FBI may be doing stuff that they're not releasing to the media. They're not letting anyone know about. And that's what they do. I mean, that's how the FBI operates, you know, similar to the CIA outside of the United States. So, you know, I hope that this is not the whole story. I hope there's stuff going on that we don't know about.
In 2007, FBI record states that these organizations, a specific one, MOA, is a specific one.
Muslims of America.
Yeah. Were involved in at least 10 murders, 1 disappearance, 3 fire bombings, 1 attempted fire bombing, 2 explosive bombings, and 1 attempted bombing. And they're watching them.
Right.
Are they on the sidelines applauding? Great fireworks display. What about this?
They're like, oh, that was a good one.
What about this? It is so hard to comprehend. I don't get it. I really don't get this. This makes no sense to me at all. Now, the interesting thing that you say about Obama, the Attorney General of the United States was appointed,
Right.
is spitting in Obama's face, basically. Not Attorney General, I'm sorry.
I was
The head of
gonna say,
the FBI.
Loretta Lynch is his
No,
meat
not Loretta,
puppet.
excuse
No.
me. The head of the FBI.
Oh, okay,
Comey,
Comey.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, spitting in his face. Military officers, which it is actually,
He was a general, wasn't it?
yes, yes,
General.
that's actually against the law because he's the commander in chief.
Right,
That's insubordination. That's an actionable item.
right.
And it's more than one of them. We're going, this guy is screwed. He's a disaster.
That was one of the guys that said his foreign policy is an embarrassment, isn't it?
No, that was 60 Minutes.
Oh,
So now we get to
right,
the now
okay.
we get to the press. 60 Minutes, which is hardly a bastion of conservatism,
Usually in the bag.
Yeah. literally said to him, sitting this distance interviewing the President of the United States, he goes, Mr. President, your foreign policy is an embarrassment.
That's called out.
You could have knocked me over with a feather. That 60 Minutes would say that, like, and that bluntly.
That is balls out.
People, I think they're getting fed up. I think they're just getting fed up. Even Democrats are going, this is
Yeah.
and yet you still got the party faithful. what's her name?
I-
Debbie Wasserman
Wasserman Schultz,
Schultz
yeah.
is pushing Democratic candidates to run on anti-gun.
Right,
That's, and now particularly,
yeah.
is the most wonderful thing I've heard happen.
Here's the thing though, I think that probably your average Democrat would make a distinction, and I'm not saying they're right, because they're clearly wrong, but I think your average Democrat would make a distinction between, we want to be more like France and have like,
Mass.
income redistribution, and we want things to be more egalitarian, and,
Yeah.
we want, mandatory months-long vacations in the summer, and, stupid people who think that you can have something for nothing. I think your mainline Democrat thinks this is what we really want. We don't want necessarily people infiltrating from other countries. We don't want Muslims like murdering people and doing suicide missions and things like that. I think your average Democrat probably doesn't realize that there's really no distinction between this and this.
From our point.
Well, yeah, I
The way
mean,
we see.
right. Well, and in France is a very, very good example, and other countries in Europe, as we've been discussing, that have been welcoming tons of Muslims. England has already seen, attacks by the Muslims that have basically taken over their society, and now France. So, our assertion is there is no difference between, your idea of a more socialistic, egalitarian society and the Muslims taking over, because this begets this.
Right.
But I don't think your average Democrat understands that.
No, the average Democrat.
And that's what I'm saying. You're saying like people are fed up with Obama. I think your average Democrat is going, well, we wanted this, but we're getting this, and this isn't what we want.
Yeah.
The Muslims coming in and murdering people is not what we bargained for.
Your average Democrat is a normal human being.
Right.
And as you know, a lot of them, particularly in the trades, are Democrat because basically they're always Democrat. They're hunters and.
Well, and if their their fathers and grandfathers were in the trades, then they don't know any different.
Right, so they grew up.
Right.
But the people who are vocal, the really hard left-leaning vocal people, have an amazing ability to marshal all these fractions. First of all, they fractionalize the voting base.
Right.
And they pit them one against the other.
Right.
And then they convince them, I'm your only salvation.
Right.
It never occurs to these people that they're making the problem.
Right.
And then coming along and say, we'll solve the problem.
Saying they have
Right.
a solution. Right.
I've said this to black people before. I go, every year they put more money into these entitlement programs. Since 1963, I think it was, the beginning of the Great Society. Are you any better off today as a population demographic? Are you any better off today than you were in 1963? And the answer is no, not really.
In many cases, worse.
In many cases, you're right.
Look at the problems in Chicago. That's where that comes from.
There's no problem in Chicago.
The fragmentation of the family, the breakdown of the American family, is where these gangs come from. And so yeah, I mean, and it's fascinating. They fracture and segment the voting base, and they're basically incompatible groups. Like the Muslims and the homosexuals. It's like, how can you get these two groups to vote for you and think that you have some sort of common goal when Muslims would believe in like stoning the homosexual?
Yes.
So yeah,
It's a very final solution.
it's really kind of astounding that they've been this successful this
They're
long.
very good at it.
They are very good at it.
They define a niche where there isn't one, and they make them paranoid against the other niches who are paranoid against them, and then somehow convince them they're going to solve the problem. So they manufacture the problem,
Right.
and then they come to the rescue.
Yeah.
And that's why we have federal government's got its fingers in everything.
Right.
It's the moral of the story, because we always have to come up with some kind of an end.
Right.
Otherwise, we camp out for the night. The moral of the story is, if you don't own a gun, go buy one.
Tomorrow's a good day.
Tomorrow's a
Although
good
I
day.
still kind of side with that on that too. There's some people that shouldn't.
But here's the thing. I get where Ed's coming from.
Right.
But here's the thing. If somebody walked into this room right now with a gun and started hosing it down,
Yeah.
would you no matter how much you hated guns, would you prefer to die over picking one up and defending yourself?
Yeah, but that's me. There's some people that rather just not even touch one and just hope for the best.
Then while they're hoping for the best, they make a good shield. Okay?
That's true.
We always talked about run, hide, and fight. Okay? So I run and hide behind that person. No, it's not really, we make fun of it, but it's really not funny. They're just hosing people down, and it's here.
Plus, what if they're so afraid of it to use it that they're going to have issues?
I just keep going back to remembering that conscientious objective, who the infantry guy who was sharing a foxhole with got zapped, and when he thought he was going to die, he sure as hell picked up a rifle. The will to live is very strong.
Yeah, but very sure the will and also the skill of the two things.
You know, I don't know who the guy was. He was a state cop. I don't know what state, but I've quoted this before. He said, "One day you may find me by the side of the road dead, but I will be laying on top of a pile of my own empty casings, and I'll be beaten to death with my own load or my empty gun." And the only thing I can say is most people, when they're confronted with a life-threatening thing, want to live. Now, they may not know how to do it.
Right.
That's true. But here's the one thing you know for a fact. If you don't have a firearm, it's not an option.
Yeah, I agree with that. True.
And I've been thinking this too, and I kind of flirted with it in my editorial, but I probably should have come right out and said it. We've seen in the recent instances that have happened in Illinois, the concealed carry people have risen to the occasion.
Yeah, that's true.
Only bad people have gotten shot, and no good people have gotten shot that I'm aware of. So, I do think there's a certain element of that as well.
And all of the people that we put through concealed carry, and we don't cut corners, we don't cheat, we adhere to the rules, because the last thing I want to do is get crosswise with the state of Illinois. But in all of the people, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, no one's ever failed a shooting test, including people who've never shot a gun before in their life. Because you give them a little instruction. You know what I always joke about? You give me enough bananas, I can teach a monkey to shoot somebody at 15 feet.
Right.
It's not that it's unimportant. It is important. But it's in that situation, it's
a very small portion of what has to happen.
right. So I would just, my gut reaction is you want to have as many people, law-abiding people, in possession of a firearm. That's just.
My thing is, even people who don't cook need to have like at least one nice sharp kitchen knife, because a day may come when you want to cook something or you need to cook something. Even if it's not something that you use every day or something that you practice using or that you're really good at it, it's a tool for a specific job. And no other tool will work for that job. And, you need to have those tools at your disposal. That's my philosophy.
And if you think back, we've taught, I think, over 6,500 students now. I think we crossed, I'm not sure, but right around. I can only think of one person who was untrainable. Really? I mean, can you think of anybody?
No.
Because this was a private lesson. I've mentioned it on the show. Right. That is the only person that I can remember that was untrainable. Just literally couldn't do it.
There were some people I've seen some people I'm concerned about.
That was marginal.
Right.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say they would be untrainable with the right class or the right private lesson or
The truth is, it's not rocket science.
No.
It's not that hard to do.
It's a fairly basic motor skill.
Right. It's the biggest impediment to it is psychological.
Yes. I find it like 99% between your ears.
Yeah, it really is. It literally is like playing golf, literally. You can be doing just great, mess up one shot, and everything after that goes down the toilet.
I experienced that
Totally psychological.
at this match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can hit a bullseye with some level of consistency, then you can hit a bullseye like that for the rest of your life. The only thing that gets in the way is your brain.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So it's true, but I just fall back on, if you don't have a firearm to protect yourself, then that option doesn't exist. Anyway, I'll give you a chance to give yours. What's your recommendation?
I said I think it's a tool for a job, and I think it's like an insurance policy. You don't think it's ever going to happen. You don't think you're ever going to need it, but we get them just in case we do. I think everybody should have a gun and know how to use it.
There you go. See, Zach?
Yes.
Always a brilliant report. And I
No, I'm just kind of looking. I'm sorry, I'm distracted because I'm looking and I see our camera's offline now or something. It's recording, but
are we not being seen?
I don't know. I think we're being heard at least, but not being seen.
Sounds like a Monty Python sketch.
Yeah, because I see it. It looks like our audio is going, but
The importance of not being seen. For those of you who can't see us,
they can hear us though, and they're listening because there's at least people watching. But anyway,
my brief opinion is everybody who legally can should have a firearm, and they should all come to us to train.
then I agree with that on that one.
That's it. We have no idea next week we're going to be talking about Obamacare. And we have a guy coming in who's an expert on that. And we're going to talk about whether or not you can, we don't even know. Can you even do
Can we
away
get
with it?
rid of it?
Yeah. So that'll be next week. Until then, for the crew, have a good week.